Hi, I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me here on For the Greater Good with Evelyn Richardson, your host. And I have with me three women who will be sharing some interesting stories about the issues that they're facing in the city of Hartford and ironically with the city of Hartford. Today I have here with me Hortense and Precious Ross and also Miss Rosamond Frett. They are both all of them actually they own businesses and homes in the Hartford community, and they are taxpayers. They have a very interesting story to share with myself and you all today. I would also like to share some background because they're very involved in their community. So as always, I sometimes have to refer to my notes. So they are involved with the Upper Albany Merchants Association, the Upper Albany Development Incorporated, and with the Upper Albany NRZ. So they're very involved in their community. Also, we have Miss Precious Ross here, who is actually an alumni with myself. She's from the Hartford Parent Leadership Training Academy and also involved with Hartford Parent University. So I'm sitting here with people who are very involved in their community, who own businesses that bring validity to our neighborhoods, and also our homeowners, the type of people that we look for to engage in our communities to keep our communities successful and thriving. So I'm very thankful to have you all here with me today. I have some other information here that I want to share before we go into our conversation today. So as I said, all of these women own their own homes, and all of the properties of each of the individuals are actually on the list to be foreclosed on. And ironically enough, by the same lien holder. And that lien holder is American Loan Funder. So, and as we went along in dialogue and conversation, it was shared that there's also hundreds of others in the Hartford community that are actually, their properties are being foreclosed on by this very same lien holder. So I find that very interesting. And as we engage in this conversation, hopefully we'll be able to dig up some reasons as to how could that be and why is that like it is. So today I welcome you all to the show, Precious, Hortense, and Rosamond. First, I would like to start with a question for Hortense. So Hortense, just always I like to give the viewers a little background of where we come from, where in the city of Hartford do we live, and just some background information. As I sit here and look at you all, I'm excited to say I have some of my Jamaican people in the house. So share some background information with us.
Well, my name, as you said, is Hortense Ross, and one of the owner of Medical Temp Force at 541 Albany Avenue here in Hartford. We started that business in 1997, and it grew significantly. We started out of our home, and then we started to look for a property in Hartford where we could house this business. We looked at various places and could not find a comfortable area. We saw this building on Albany Avenue. It was on the demolition list at the city of Hartford to be taken down. We approached the city of Hartford and asked them if they would sell it to us, and they agreed to do so. They sold us the building, and then we renovated it. We got loans from, at the time it was Fleet Bank and Headco, and also the city of Hartford. We renovated it, gutted it out completely, gutted it out. The only thing that was left that was the historical part of the building was the bricks. Everything within the building was replaced. And after renovation, in fact, we were assigned by the city of Hartford when they were doing the facade of the building, a girl by the name of Annette Lucino. And she was the one who informed us that being that the building was on the demolition list, there is a program in place that would allow us not to pay taxes for a period of time, because of, it's called the Blighted Property Program. And our verbal information was that it would be 10 years waive, and we believe that. When the building was completed, she gave us the piece of paper with all the excitement of getting into the building. We did not actually look the paper over, neither did our lawyer look showed us or go over the paperwork with us concerning the blighted program. And so we put the paper down and, was comfortable enough to believe that what they said to us was true. Somewhere down the line, I think it was about 2009, we decided to do something else, and it would involve the city of Hartford, getting another loan from them and so forth. And one of the stipulations was that they would have to be up to date with our taxes. So we told them about the program that we were in, but they still had to do their footwork and checking to find out if everything was all right. It was at that point that we found out that not only that our building was placed on lien with the city of Hartford, but was also already sold.
Now, was this from 2000? How long was the business open at this point?
The business was open from 1997. We moved over into the building in 2003.
Okay.
And the paperwork that we had stated that once we receive certificate of occupancy, then that's when the taxes would come into play.
Prorate.
Would be prorated. They would start to be prorated at that point. And but we weren't aware of that. One of the things that the city did not do is to send us a bill. We did not receive a bill. We did not receive any notice of delinquency. We did not receive any notice that they were going to sell these liens. In fact, we did not receive any notice that they had put lien on the building. And we did not receive any notice that they were selling the liens.
Just to clue our listeners and viewers in, we are talking about the location of uniforms and stuff. And it's located at 541 Albany Avenue in Hartford, at the corner of Albany and Garden. And I know that a lot of you viewers that do live in Hartford neighborhoods, as well as myself, we shop there. We go there regularly to get our children's uniforms. So this is the property that's being discussed at this time. Thank you.
And so when we eventually found out, we approached Mark Nelson concerning it, and we approached the mayor and asked what he could do. One of the things that he says that he could do is have them call back the taxes that were sold. However, in our other discussion, we found out that it was not called back. And it's just a constant struggle. We've been going from one place to the other, trying to fight this, trying to see how we can resolve this and still keep our building. And eventually we had to hire a lawyer. It's at the point now where they still want to push through with doing the foreclosure.
So at this point, they're not willing to accept any finance funds from you? Or are they trying to go for a higher rate than what you should be expected to pay?
Actually, what we get to understand was that what we actually was owing is 47,000. Now, because of the rate that they've placed on this and the interest, it has gone well over now 100,000 that we are owing them.
Wow.
Well over 100,000.
I want to bring in Rosamond Fret here because this is very interesting, and we're going to get back to your story also. But today we have with us Miss Rosamond Fret. She owns her own property in Hartford, and she has her business out of her home. And she has a story that's kind of relative to this situation. So Miss Fret, please share with us some of your background. What community in Hartford do you live? Are you in the Upper Albany neighborhood also?
Yes, okay. I am in the Upper Albany neighborhood. The address of the property that we're speaking about is my home, as you said before, and it is at 11 Burton Street.
Okay, Burton Street. Okay, a nice street. Okay, so share with us some details about your individual situation.
Well, back in 2010, as Precious has said before, you did not get a bill from the city. You did not get any notice to say that liens has been placed against your property, and you did not get any notice that the liens has been sold to someone. In, I think it was March of 2010, I got notice from the attorney for American Tax Funding telling me that my property was sold. The liens on the taxes was sold to them, and that they wanted to start a foreclosure. Prior to that, I had no knowledge that this had happened. So at that time, I'm recognizing, well, this is my home. This is where I live. This is where my family lives. And I have to do something to try to save my home. So what I did was I got back to the attorney and I said, you know, what can we do? They had already came and put a sign of foreclosure in front of my house. And, you know, I said, what can we do? So we entered into a payment agreement. And the agreement was that it was going to be that I paid for 2 years, and at the end of 2 years, it was going to be a balloon payment. The question that I asked at that time, knowing my circumstances, was, what if at the end of those 2 years I can't make that balloon payment? And they said, if you pay constantly every month and do what you promised you would do, we can talk about this later. However, at the end of that 2-year period, they wanted that balloon payment, which I could not pay. So we ended up back in court. And as we ended up back in court, the attorney came in one day and he said to the judge, he said, you know, she's paying 18%. And literally, most of the money that she has paid has just been paying the interest. She has not paid anything on the principal. So the principal is still being compounded.
Did you know you were only paying interest at that time?
No. I thought that I was paying
down your debt.
Paying down my debt. And so at that point he said, I want to start foreclosure, because if I continue to take her money at 18%, she will not get out from under this. So I want to start a foreclosure of the property. And they have. And I have tried to refinance my house and do a home equity loan. However, up until today, I have not been successful at doing that, and it is about a month left. So the sale date for my house has been set for July 19th.
Okay, now when did you purchase your home?
I purchased my home 26 years ago in 1987. So I've been living there for the last 26 years.
And you're still young, and they would take the house from you at this time after being in it for almost 30 years without consideration.
Not only that, I am Precious Ross Ellis.
Just look.
Yes. Not only that, Rose is one of the situations that we have in Hartford. Like us, we have a mortgage on our property. She owns her property outright.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of people will say, well, normal people would pay their taxes and insurance through the mortgage. She owns her property. If she had gotten a tax bill, she would have paid it.
That's right.
She would have paid her bill. But the city of Hartford didn't think that they have the right. They said that they don't have to send you a tax bill.
So when we purchase homes, because I'm not a homeowner yet, so you can certainly share some information with me for my edification. When you purchase a home, we all know that we have to pay tax.
Yes, absolutely.
So they give you a rate when you purchase the home, and the people that collect the taxes is obviously the city of Hartford is the bill collector.
Right.
So when does the bill collector not have to send out bills?
Well, according to them on their books, they say that you know that you're a taxpayer. And they don't have to send you a bill. You know you have to pay your taxes. But in a situation like ours, when we're not expecting to get a bill, we're not expecting to pay anything, then a bill should have been sent out.
So how long of a time frame was it that they weren't sending out bills to?
Well, we moved into our property in 2003. We have never received a bill from the city of Hartford. In 2009, we found out that we have tax delinquency. And it's only because of going down to the city to do business with them that we found out that this was out there.
So this sounds very strategic to me on their part.
Very. Recently, I heard that they start, because of what's going on and the outcry from the community, they started to send out the bills again. But for people like myself who is in this process right now, it's not helping us because the damage has been done. The city refused to call back those taxes that they sold off. So we are fighting with the attorney for these different tax lien companies.
Ironically, the lawyer that is representing this American tax
I was just going to go there, so thank you, because that was a great segue.
Michael Reiner. In 1997, when we purchased the building from the city of Hartford, is the one that did the closing on that building.
Our attorney of record.
He is the one, when we close with Fleet Bank, he's my lawyer. He did the closing.
We're going to save that thought, and I don't want you to lose that space. But right now, we're going to take a break, and we'll get right back with you for the greater good with Evelyn Richardson, your host, here on accesstv.org. Thank you.
At Hartford Public Schools, we care about one thing above all, the future of our kids. That's why we're dedicated to providing all students with the knowledge and skills needed in the new global culture. Hartford Public Schools is thriving. More student success stories, more world-class facilities, more university and corporate partnerships, more amazing talent coming and staying in Hartford. This is how education is supposed to work. Welcome to Hartford Public Schools, where the future is present.
Hello, welcome back to For the Greater Good with Evelyn Richardson and our special guests, Miss Precious Ross, Hortense Ross, and Rosamond Frett. Very thankful for you all to be here. We ended off with you, Hortense. Can you finish what you were sharing with us?
Yes. I was saying that Mike Reiner also was the person who, when we had problems with the companies that we were working with, he is the one to handle those matters, get us the monies that they were owing us, and so forth and so on. Up until 2010, which was when we started going through this process of trying to fight this situation, he was my lawyer on record.
And you're fighting against your
own
own
now
lawyer.
it's a big conflict of interest. And I don't know how he could not have seen that. Or is it that he just did not care about the situation? Because his due diligence to me was to inform me.
Exactly.
He is claiming that he's only representing these companies. But we are under the impression that this man is the owner of these companies, or one of the owner.
Okay. So that's great. That's a great segue into some information that you have to share with us, Precious.
Yes, I've been doing my research, and these are the companies that are buying the tax liens: Connecticut Tax Lien, American Tax Funding, Phoenix Tax Lien, Propel Tax Lien, Expand Tax Lien. There might be more companies out there, but one thing that they have in common is Mike Reiner.
And Mark Nelson.
Mark Reiner. Mark Reiner is the attorney that is representing. He claims he's only representing, but I think that Mike Reiner owns this company. They're located throughout the United States. One of my project that I was working, I found out that Mark Nelson, the tax collector for the city of Hartford, came to the city around the same time that the tax liens were being sold.
Came to the city?
Yes.
To the city of Hartford?
Yes.
Okay, as a tax collector.
As a tax collector. In my research, I found out that Mark Nelson worked prior for Expand, which is one of the companies buying the tax lien.
Yes.
And when I'm looking at this as a citizen in the
city
city of Hartford, we are being sold out. I think Mark Nelson come to the city with the intent of doing this to the citizens, and our representative allowed it to happen.
It's very, I just want to put this in here. It's very interesting to me because, we always get this sense that, the white people want to come back. Hartford is really prime land,
Yes.
and that it's coveted. And we understand that they didn't leave willingly. They left by force. They felt as though they were forced to leave after the riots. So now they want to come back. They want to be closer to their jobs, closer to their kids. That's coming. A lot of them are coming from the suburbs to go to school in Hartford. So it seems to be intentional to push people out that can't afford to live in the community. But it really shocks and appalls me even more when I hear that they're willing to push out homeowners that invested 26 years into a home and have paid off their home. They don't even want you there no more. People that are owning a business that are doing everything that they can to provide to the community and paying their taxes, they don't even want you anymore. So please, that's amazing to me.
Back to Mike Reiner. When he was our attorney at first, he was under the name Reiner and Reiner. Then the bill started to come to us to Bandit and McCauley, attorney at law, and now it's Green Law Firm. Mike Reiner is at the bottom of this. At one of our sessions in court, when we mentioned that he was our attorney of record, he wants to know why we were trying to embarrass him. So this is the plight that we are going through. We are struggling business owners. We are fighting to keep ourselves alive. But then we have the forces that be, whether it be City Hall or Mike Reiner, that we are trying to fight.
Great. Tell me about what the mayor's doing to help you.
Nothing. Hortense, maybe you can respond to the mayor.
I mean, Mayor Segarra, we need you. What are you doing to help?
He's doing absolutely nothing. One of the time I got to understand that they were having a meeting down at the city of Hartford, and I went to that meeting trying to get to speak to the mayor, because each time I go to his office, leave messages, he would not return my call. He would not come out to see me. He's never there, and he doesn't respond. He just doesn't respond. So when I heard about this meeting, I said, you know what, let me go down there and see if I can just meet up with him and talk with him. I was able to get his attention. But what upset me is that the remarks that he made was that my sister and I was in some kind of cahoots with the prior mayor.
That's Mayor Perez.
Mayor Perez.
In what regard? Because I'm not sure if you shared with our viewers about the 10-year tax-free status that you had signed paperwork with the city of Hartford. So share some of that also.
Mayor Perez had nothing to do with that. He had absolutely nothing to do with it. In fact, I can't remember the woman's name that we work with concerning. No, not Annette. She at the time was the city manager, and she was the one who we worked with Annette Lucino. Annette Lucino would refer back to her from us, and she threw Annette Lucino to us. And I never met at the time Mayor Perez concerning any of these situations that we're going through. Again, I says that we had that 10-year information that was given to us by Annette Lucino, but we found out as we approached Mark Nelson, what the actual paperwork was saying is that the first 5 years the taxes were waived, and then the next 5 years it would be that we would begin to pay the lower amount, like 20%, and they pay 80%, and gradually we would go up and they would come down, and so eventually we would take over paying the taxes altogether.
Was that still acceptable in your opinion?
That would have been acceptable. It would have totally been acceptable. They call back the taxes and it says, okay, we want you to do this. We would have gone through with doing that. It would have been no problem to us. But it's that Mark Nelson was just determined that it cannot work. It just simply, even though the mayor at one point had said he's going to have them do that, he said
Mayor
it cannot
Segarra
work.
said
Yes.
he was going to.
Yes.
So then the
And
tax
then-
collector told the mayor it ain't happening.
Yeah,
And the
and
mayor
all of a
listened.
sudden, it just can't work. You understand? And we are here suffering. You understand? And with no one to help. We have gone through everybody that is a council at the city of Hartford. Everyone that we could think of. We have made approach. And no one.
Have
There
you
is
tried state
absolutely no one.
the LOB, legislative office buildings? Have you approached any senators regarding this
I
matter?
went down to speak to the senator once. I did not
Which
get to
one?
see him. The new one, the one that took over from Dodd. What's his name again?
Matt Ritter.
No, he took over from Dodd now, but he was there.
I can't remember his name.
Okay, but anyway.
Yes, I tried to approach him. One of the time I saw they had a meeting downtown, and I went to it just to because a lot of them was going to be there. The senators and so forth was going to be there, and I tried making approach. They made calls to the city of Hartford for me, but it panned out to nothing. No one called me from those telephone calls. There's just no one to lean on.
Have anybody considered this? And I know very little. I'm learning as I go along in the politics arena. But this sounds like something that would be, something that could go to the Supreme Court, because they are just really kind of like, bulldozing through Hartford.
Where Michael Reiner is concerned, Blumenthal, I brought up a case against him some years ago where he had to pay over $750,000 to the state of Connecticut.
Has it been paid?
Because of some real estate bad dealing that man did. He's just a constant.
Now, who did the bad dealing?
Mike Reiner.
Okay,
He's constantly
and it was
in
won.
these things. And the state sued him and won. You understand? He had to pay the state.
And the city of Hartford hired him.
And yet the city of Hartford
sold him the tax lien.
Sold him the tax lien. And I can't understand who is there really representing us, who is standing up for the poor people of Hartford. You understand? Because you have other people away from Rose who have paid off their home, that are going through this thing
or lose their own.
And have lost it. In fact, there's another person on the same street that Rose live on who was just put out of their home. Just it's an elderly. These people are senior citizens who cannot start over. You understand? That's it for them. They cannot start over. You understand? So who is there to fight for us? Who is there to defend us? Who is there to say enough is enough? We can't do this to these people.
That's right.
And I just want to interject. I was going to bring up what she just said, that there's a lady up the street and they just put her out of her house. This lady is a retired lady with limited income, and they just put her out of the street. When I drive up my street, I saw the sign. Eventually they foreclosed on her and put her out of the house. Now that should be a royal shame on the city of Hartford. I don't know how long she owned the house, but I know that she's a senior citizen and she lived there with her children and even some grandchildren, because I see them playing out in the yard, and they just put her out of her house. Now, as I said, there has to be a way that the city of Hartford, if they wanted us to stay after being there for 26 years or 30 years or 40 years, at one point we went down to the city of Hartford to pay on my taxes, and they told me it was sent to one of the companies. I think it was Expand. I call
that's
Expand.
The Mark Reiner one, right?
Yeah, another Mark Reiner company. I call Expand. Expand said to me, "We don't have you. They sent it out to us, but we sent it back to them." So I went back to the city of Hartford and I said, Expand say that they don't have my taxes. Who have my taxes? They gave me 3 or 4 pieces of paper, which are the companies that Precious talk about, and they said, well, you need to call one of these companies because some one of them have it. They could not even tell me who owned my taxes, and I'm going through the motion at the same time still paying to Greenlaw PC, where Mark Reiner is part owner, only to be told in January, we don't want to take any more of your money. So now they're doing me a favor after I paid $30,000 to them in 2 years. We don't want to take any more of your money because it's at 18% and you cannot keep this up because you're basically just paying interest. You still owe on your loan.
So are any of you familiar, know any information about what they're doing with the properties? Because certainly the white people aren't re-entering the community in a month. So what are they doing with the properties once they recover them? Are they renting them out, or they're selling them again, but as them they're the owners, or they'll
Yes.
sell it on their own?
Yes.
So that still gives it a time frame, because I'm thinking if they're going to sell it out, then they still don't have a stake in the community if
No,
they're going to
they
be
don't.
selling it.
They're not keeping them.
I believe that they're also renting some of them, because I contacted one lawyer. I was at a program 2 months ago, and one of the person that was on the that was talking, her husband is a lawyer, and so when I spoke about my situation, she gave me her husband's information to call him, because he was going through with some other clients suing the city of Hartford. But when he heard that one of the person that I was having a problem with was Mike Reiner, he quickly says that he could not represent me because he is one of Mike Reiner's tenants.
Wow.
So he's renting some of those properties as well.
Before we go back to you, Precious, because I want you to share that big list that you have of many properties that's been that are owned now by this tax lien company and by this same man. No recourse from the city of Hartford. I'm thinking the tax office. There are some of our people who work in the tax collector's office. They collect our taxes daily. This is something that has been going on for a while. Do you get a sense that your next door neighbor or the person that lives in your community that works for the tax department is aware of these things and aren't informing the community? When bills weren't going out for 5 years or whatever, was there anybody reaching out to people in the community saying, we stopped putting out bills, so please make sure you pay? Because
No, there was none. And that's the ironic thing about my situation. Had they sent me a bill, I would have taken that piece of paper that they had given me concerning this 10 years of waiver and go down to the city of Hartford and let them know that I should not be receiving a bill because of this situation. They would have had the opportunity to explain to me what that piece of paper actually says.
Okay, you have 5 minutes to share with us briefly on your 5 seconds. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. As I said, Mike Reiner is at the bottom of this with the city of Hartford. I think they're in cahoots with each other. I think the city is doing a dissatisfaction to citizens of Hartford. They are not representing us. We have no one out there representing us. We are on our own. And it has proven day after day after day.
Mayor Segarra is supposed to be on the show in a few weeks. I don't know if after he watched this, he will actually come and bless us and be on the show so that I can ask him some of these questions. For the Greater Good with Evelyn Richardson is about holding our leaders accountable, finding out who really represents us at the city, state, and community levels. Join us next week for On the Greater Good with Evelyn Richardson on accesstv.org. Thank you, Hortense, Rosamond, and Precious. I look forward to following up with this information. Thank you.